All right, we're excited to be here today. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the fifth edition of Solution Illuminators Series. I'm here with my sister, Mrs. Seun Akinlotan. She's the founder of Onpoint Success International and also the founder of other businesses we're going to be talking about today. She wrote two books, very exciting books and very life-changing books. The first one is Business Launch Simplified, and the second one is Unequal. These are going to be the basis of our discussion today. And I also discovered that we had certain things in common. Number one, we are both Nigerian American. We grew up in Ogun State, Abeokuta, Nigeria. And also, we are both member of Solution. We are both a member of John Maxwell team. John Maxwell
Yes.
team is the team that is helping people to develop leadership skills and communication skills. And today our discussion is going to be around various exploits on business in the arena of business. Right. Please welcome today my guest, Mrs. Seun Akinlotan.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me. Hello, Tolu. Hello, Dr. Tolu. How are you?
Yeah, you can call me Tolu. You just throw the doctor away. Yeah.
No, I'm going to call you Doctor because you have it on your profile. So you are
Okay.
Dr. Tolu. Good
Yeah.
morning.
Maybe I'll remove it. All right. So today we're going to be talking about the business.
Okay.
I I was fortunate to read two of your books. Like I said, one of them is the Unequal.
Thank you
I
for getting a
actually
copy.
yes, I actually I bought it for my wife to read. Then of course I'm reading it too, and things like
Yes.
that. So you are engaged in so many things. You also do the Power Women
Woman
Conference,
experience.
Women Experience. All right. So what motivated you to start all this in the beginning?
Okay. Thank you for that question. Welcome, everyone. If you are watching me right now, I want you to take some notes, invite your friends so that we can all learn and share together. My name is Seun Akinlotan. I am an environmental scientist. I'm also the founder of Onpoint Success. I love financial independence and I love working with women. One of the things that I do as per women is mentorship. So I mentor women. I am also a member of John Maxwell team, just like Dr. Tolu shared. I am the convener of the Power Woman Experience. This is an annual event that I host for women that are willing to learn, share, network, and collaborate with one another. I also have different programs that I run, and my life is just about helping you to maximize your potentials. God has given each and every one of us deep potentials that we can use to impact the world. And I believe that no matter where you are around the world, you can do great things in your own way. So now, the question is, why do I do all these things? What motivated me to start? Well, I grew up in Rock City, which is also known as Abeokuta, Ogun State, Nigeria. It's a town in the southwestern part of Nigeria. I grew up in a traditional home where you have your dad, mom, and siblings. And one of the things that maybe it's not unique, but one of the things I particularly grew up with is the fact that I come from a family of all girls. And I also grew up in a society that seemed at that time to treat women as second class citizens. That's what it seemed like. I think things are changing now thanks to all the awareness that we have around the world. And I also saw when I was growing up how a lot of women were living below their potential, below what God has given to them. So I was motivated because I am the first child in my family and I have siblings that are looking up to me. So, first, I wanted to be a role model to my own younger sisters. And I also wanted to impact everyone around me. So that's why I started focusing on women issues. And my own focus, like I said, is to help women to maximize their potential and live their best life. And that's why I started all I've been doing. I can tell you for a fact that I've started doing this unofficially since I was young. I believe that if I have a friend, my friend should feel my impact. So if you are my friend, I'm always looking for ways to make our relationship better. I'm looking for ways that you can grow. I'm looking for ways that you can expand. And God has been the ultimate source. God has been helping me to fulfill all this purpose that, He sent me to this world for a purpose, and it's only through his strength that I'm able to do all that I do today.
Wow. You just mentioned that you are the firstborn. Good luck to
Yes.
that. I don't envy you on that. I know
Yes.
my sister will
It's
always say,
not an
well,
enviable position, but
my sister will always say, well, whenever our parents want to do something, they just test it on her, and if it works or it doesn't work, then
yes, absolutely. All
then
eyes on you.
well, that's really good. So you said something now that your major target is the women, right? Women, that's the
Yes.
target. And in your book, you also said that it's important for a business person to focus on a particular target. Why is it that so important? Not to just say, well, I want to serve everybody.
Oh, okay. So it's important to target for a lot of reasons, and people can contest this and say different things, but especially if you are a solopreneur, an entrepreneur, it's important that when you are starting out, as when you are getting out there, it's important that you target your audience. First, it helps you to conserve your energy because it's not easy if you hold a gun and you want to shoot everybody at once. You're not going to get as many people as if you try to focus that barrel on someone. And it's the same concept as an hunter. If you go to the jungle to say, okay, today I'm leaving my house and I want to go and hunt for a lion, a leopard, a giraffe, a kangaroo, a bird, two things will happen at the end of the day. It's either you come back home empty handed or you get killed in the field. Because to be able to capture a lion, you need a different strategy. To be able to capture a giraffe, you need a different strategy. These animals have different characteristics, and maybe some are nocturnal animals, maybe some are daylight animals. They have different things that they are looking for, and you also have something different that you are looking for. So if you are trying to capture everyone in the marketplace at the same time, it's really hard. It requires a lot of resources and it requires a lot of creativity. So as a solopreneur, the better way to start out, if you're starting out your business, is to narrow your focus, have a niche that you want to target. And as you grow, you begin to learn some lessons, you build capacity, and you are able to extend your areas of focus. But if you're trying to get everyone at once, it's really difficult. And this is not just something that is theoretical for me, it's something that has happened to me on a personal note as well. I started my business as an event planner. I used to be an event planner, and for me, you know how you grow up as a Christian, and you say, "I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me." So my business was like, if you said you wanted to tie gaily, I would say yes. If you said you wanted to do makeup, I would say yes. If you said you wanted to do decoration, I was doing everything. At the end of the day, I was not able to get the type of results that I was looking for until I decided to narrow down. So, as a solopreneur, as an entrepreneur, I believe strongly, based on results, based on research, based on what has happened to me personally and what has happened to millions of other people. If you're starting out, you should definitely narrow your focus. And then as you gain experience, as you gain confidence, you have more resources, you can begin to expand to other things.
Yes, that's very nice. The second thing you also talked about in your book on equal, you talked about the business name. And one of the things that I found very interesting in the book, you were saying, well, when you try to come up with a name, you should consider the names of the top three competitors you have in the industry. Why is
Yeah.
that so important?
Yes, because everything in life is all about perception. The difference between an Android phone and an Apple phone, Apple have like loyal fans. It's become a nation, it's become a tribe. There's a reason why people are attracted to one brand or the other. So Apple, you hear Apple and they have that logo on their devices, and it shows that someone is biting into it, and the aesthetics is just fascinating. So people are, and then you have excellent products, right? So it's not just about the name, but it starts with the name. It starts with the perception. There's a reason why you choose your barber shop. And I can tell you that you probably drive, I don't know how you cut your hair, but let's say we have 10 barbers in a community.
Yes.
You probably have a barber that is very close to your house that you ignore. You don't even look at that shop. Maybe it's the location, maybe it starts from the name, maybe it starts from how they treat you when you walk in. And then sometimes you prefer to drive 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 1 hour to a remote location just because of the name. You want to be identified with the name, you love the name, you love the aesthetics when you walk in. So there are different dynamics that comes with name. People are very biased. If you choose a business name that people cannot easily pronounce and it's not resonating, you don't have good customer service, you don't have good products, that's a really bad combination. And one of the other things about name is that you want your name to be a memorable name. You want people to say it with pride. You want people to be able to refer other people to your business and they say, yes, go to Onpoint Success. It sounds really good. I've had people tell me that just because of that word success, they just love the fact that I have On Point Success and it's intriguing to them. And people look up that name. They say, oh, what's On Point Success? Wow, this is good. It's a really nice name. It's something that you can even personalize to yourself. The Power Woman Experience. So if you look at that name, it's a very strong name and it makes people curious. So names are really important. Even uh, personal names that we bear. We've had people in the Bible change their names just because, that name that was given to them, they believe that it's bringing bad things to them. And I also remember when Good Luck became president, a lot of people were putting that name in their names because there's something about names that it's powerful and it can become a trend. It can become something that even brings blessing to you. So we need to be very intentional about the names we choose for our brands.
Well, since you're in America, I think you should do a workshop on that because I don't think Americans believe the same with you as to, well, names are very important.
Oh,
Because
names are important, and
yeah.
because that's what you call yourself. There's so much power in our words. Let me give you a practical example that will bring this home for you. So, when I was in high school, I don't know if it's true, if this story is true, but there was something that people used to say that maybe on a radio show or TV show, I can't recollect, but I remember that I heard something like they called a child and said, "What's your name?" Maybe the child said Olori Buruku or something like that. And Olori Buruku means that you are cursed.
Yeah.
That is what the mother or the father has been calling the child, and the child got used to it. And maybe the child wants to achieve great things in life and he's saying, well, this is what I've known all my life. Names are very powerful, and we need to be very careful how we name our children. Even if you were named a particular name and you don't like it, as an adult, you have that power to change your name because names can control your destiny. Another practical example I'll give you is that how you use a cell phone, right? You pick up your cell phone and you call, let's say you call someone in India and you say, hello, remember that that cell phone is connected by electromagnetic waves. It's not, there's no wire that is connecting your own cell phone to that other person's cell phone. And you give that person certain instructions and they are able to carry those instructions out. That is how powerful your words are. Your words have influence. So when you keep repeating a name to a child all their lives, it controls something in their brain. So you need to pay attention to what you are naming your child. You can't just name your child anything. Names are truly important, and I would encourage everyone to call themselves good names, to affirm themselves, to speak good things to them, to themselves, and then watch how great things will begin to flow their way.
Yes, thank you so much. You mentioned the branding of Apple. And we see that in the news every time on internet. Apple, the actual Apple that we eat is what they had there. And I also discovered that on what you do with Onpoint Success is branding, website development, and marketing. How
Yes.
did you choose that niche for yourself? And what advice would you give for people that are trying to create a niche for themselves like that?
Yes. So with On Point Success, one of the things I personally love is that like I said, I believe we all have great potentials. And I also believe that even if you're starting out as an entrepreneur, that doesn't stop you from putting out great things. That doesn't stop you from being intentional. The truth of the matter is that the marketplace is extremely saturated. Everybody is doing something. So you have to be intentional about what you are putting out there. So and it starts with your logo. It starts with your choice of logo. So for On Point Success, we have that logo that even if you don't see the full name of the brand, you can have an idea of what the brand is about. And I started branding and website development marketing because I believe that I'm a good marketer. I love marketing. I've worked in retail with my mom as a child, and I actually enjoyed it. Not only have I worked in retail in a secluded area, I've also worked in retail in the heat of the market. So I know how to market. I know what customers are looking for on a general note because every business is different. And one good thing about growth and marketing or whatever it is you're doing is that you have to constantly learn. Things are evolving, customer needs are changing, so you have to be on top of your game. So, for example, when business owners start out, a lot of people tend to skip those little details. They say, "Oh, I don't need a logo, or I don't need an email, I don't need this." And these are things that they are easily accessible to you. It doesn't cost you anything to create an email. It doesn't cost you anything to have great customer service. And I'm telling you, customer service is highly underrated. If you have good customer service, people will be willing to cross the oceans to come and meet you where you are. And this is what we offer to small business owners. This is what we offer to entrepreneurs. We help you look good so that people can take you seriously. If you are not serious about your business, why would you expect
Mhm.
potential customers to take you seriously? So
Wow.
that's the whole idea.
Wow, this is really interesting. Thank you so much for all the inputs that you're giving here. Another thing that I read in a book, your book on equal, your book, you kind of narrated a story. And now that you mentioned your mom there, you narrated the story how your mom's business grew from the top of the fridge to a particular point in the city mall. How did that happen?
Yeah, so this happened in the early 90s or mid 90s. I can't remember the timeline, but anyway, I remember that it was during the Abacha regime. That was the military regime that made everyone fearful, and salaries were not being paid. My mom used to work, right? And salaries were not being paid. So one day she told me that she was going to the market. I thought that she wanted to buy food items for the house. And then she came back with this little bag. And we used to have a student sized refrigerator back then that my dad used in the 70s when he was serving. when it was a youth corper, so to speak. So that's the only refrigerator we had in the house back then. It had a small compartment freezer and then other spaces for little items that you can put. And we used to put it in our dining room by the corner, which is just in front of the window or at the back of the window. And my mom arranged those items there. It was intriguing to me as a child to to watch that. And the fact that where we were living, I remember when I was younger, when I was living with my parents, we could barely count 10 cars plying the road. It was very quiet. It was very secluded. Now it's different. I went there a few months ago and I see a little bit of, bustling and hustling. But back then it was really quiet. You could barely count 10 people walking down the street. And in my mind, I was like, what fate? Like, it takes a lot of faith to say, I want to start something in an area that is really secluded. But my mom started, and before we knew what was happening, people would drive from their houses, they would knock on the doors, and it wasn't something big. It was just what they call provisions,
Mm.
Milo, milk, biscuits, candies, something like that. It was really small. And then before we knew what was going on, my mom moved from that little fridge into our garage. We have a garage, and she converted that to a store. And I remember that at that point, I was in high school. So typically, when I go to school in the morning, by the time I come back in the evening, I'm always at the shop. That's where I have to do my homework. And not only that, my mom also bought this commercial grinding machine, whatever. So we had that in the house. So not only was I coming back from school, sitting at the shop, taking care of my sisters, trying to cook dinner, and also attending to customers that want to grind pepper. So that's the kind of life I grew up with. And when people tell me that I can't do certain things, it just does not resonate with me because of the type of life that I lived while growing up. I remember that my mom will tell you that if you don't grind pepper, if you are trying to form big, if you don't grind pepper, you're not going to have school uniform. That's what my mom will tell you. So it was even like a competition, like, oh my goodness, I need to grind more pepper so I could have my school supplies. And like the prices of textbooks were really high then. And then the other thing was my dad was not living with us at that time. My dad had to relocate his dental practice to Lagos, and it would come on once every 2 weeks, bi-weekly or something like that. So it was just my siblings, myself, and my mom, and she was doing all she could to take care of us. Of course, at the end of the day, I finished high school. I went to college, and before I knew what was going on, my mom called me. Oh, I just secured a shop. I'm like, how do you do all these things? And my mom really motivated me because while I was in school as well, I was always engaged in one thing or the other to keep myself busy. And I just sometimes cannot wrap my head around someone saying I don't have money. Sometimes, like if you say you don't have money, it's very abstract to me. Like I'm like, but you have hands. You can do something. You can do something. And people complain about capital, but I also remember that when I was in college, I wanted to sell something and I didn't have money and I didn't want to ask my mom. So what I did was there was this woman in town. We used, because my college was in a remote area, so we'll normally call the other parts town. In town, there was this woman that sold slippers, female slippers. And all I needed to do was to approach her. And I said, Auntie, you know what? I promise you, just give me 6 or 12 of these slippers. I'll bring your money back. And she looked at me like, seriously? I said, yes. And she gave it to me. I went to college. I sold it. I gave her money back. And that was how I began to do that. Before I knew what was going on, guess what? I started going to Lagos, like from Abeokuta, to buy stuff to sell. So I really don't understand when people say that there's nothing they can do and all they can resort to is self-pity. I really don't get those things.
Yes. So now that you've mentioned your experiences with that, I think it's time to talk about how to develop a relationship with the customer, because it's all about having that kind of relationship to be able to say, well, I can go back, I can always say something to this person at any point. What's your take on customer relationship management approach?
Yes, and this is one of the things I'm passionate about. I believe that attitude is very important in life, not just in business, but also in your career or wherever you find yourself. If you have a great attitude, you attract good people to you. So, as a business personality, the first thing you should think of, this is reverse psychology, because some people will question this. The first thing you should think of is that the customers are doing you a favor. And then some people will say, no, the customers are not doing me a favor. I am doing the customer a favor by providing
The customer is
value or
always
a
right.
service or goods. But that's not true, because it's very hard for someone to dip their hands in their pocket and bring out that money to pay you, when they have 1,000,001 options of similar people doing similar things. So customer service can be a differentiation factor. And what I mean by saying differentiation factor is that it can be that one thing that makes people get attracted to your business. If you have customer service, the way you make people feel. I've patronized some people that I knew right then and there that I was not going to come back. And that was because of their attitude. So, for example, I ordered a particular item from a woman on Facebook that would normally advertise her goods. And I just love the fact that she was always out there advertising her goods. And I decided to support her. But when I got the item, I couldn't even put on the item. When I got I couldn't use it. So I reached out to her, and all she could say was, "Oh, okay, sorry. There is nothing." She didn't offer help. She didn't show empathy to put herself in my shoes. That I just spent money to get this item. She didn't offer anything. So that's a big turn off for a lot of people. If customers are buying from you, you should celebrate them. You should appreciate them, and just try as much as possible to follow up. Ask them, do you like what you bought? How else may I help you? Just showing that you care. It really goes a long way in
Yes.
business, and it's one thing that a lot of people don't pay attention to. But if you pay attention to customer service, and it starts with you being grateful for little things. If you are grateful that someone spent $5 or someone spent $20 in your business, then that person will feel that gratefulness. When you express it to them, then they will remember you next time they need that item. When their families and friends ask them, "Oh, where did you get this from?" they will be happy to refer you. So, customer service is really important, not just in business, but also in your career and also in your family life or wherever you find yourself in life. Just be your best and try to have a great attitude.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. Also, I remember one of the things you talked about in your book, The Unequal. You talked about your experience with small business administration when you were trying to write
Oh, yeah.
the
Mm-hmm.
business proposal and the struggle you had to go through and things like that. And what advice would you have for somebody who's starting out and trying to write a business proposal and things like that?
Oh, okay. So it depends on the person, but there are multiple ways that you can go about it. If you know that you're a self learner, like if you're a self learner, you know how to research. There are a lot of resources online. And your business plan, if you want to write your business plan, you can go on the Small Business Administration website. It's sba.gov.gov, and they do trainings, online trainings, and they also have sample business plans that you could use as a template to write your own. But sometimes those things can get boring and it may be uninspiring. So if you can also choose another approach of researching, doing those things yourself, but then looking for someone that has walked that similar path to guide you. And you could also sign up for trainings and mentorship. I have a mentorship platform that I've been running since 2015. And one of the things we do there is we help people to review their business plan. So if you have a business plan you want me to review, I can give you guidelines to follow, but you still have to do it yourself. Now, some people would say, "Oh, I don't want to do it myself. I want you to do it for me." Then I would have to bill for that service. But writing a business plan is easier than what most people think. So you could definitely find resources out there. Even something as simple as logging into your computer and then typing business plan in your Microsoft Word. There's a panel on your Microsoft Word. Just typing business plan there will give you a template of a business plan, and then you can input whatever you need to input. Sometimes the columns are confusing, especially when you're starting out, and it can be overwhelming. So we have a derivative of business plan that is called business models. Business models has 9 different building blocks. Some use 7, some use 9. It depends on you, it doesn't matter. But it gives you like a snapshot, almost like a vision board of how you want your business to be run. And it goes from customer segment, value proposition, channels, and things like that. So it all depends on you. If you love to speak to a mentor is always great because a mentor has gone that path, they have that experience. So it shortens your learning time and it also gives you leverage. And if you don't want to talk to anyone, you could definitely research on Google. I've given you a great website out there. It's sba.gov. You could also go to Score Mentors. You can type it on Google, Score Mentors. They have a lot of programs out there. Your local library, if you have a local library, those are great resources as well. You could buy books. There are a lot of books out there. And one of the things I say or preach is that the more you buy books, the smarter you become, so
Mm.
you need to read. Some people don't like reading, but you need to read and you get a lot of information from different authors. So I particularly like to read personal development books, business motivational books, and things like that. So definitely you want to read as you are going to a public library. Be sure that you are building your own personal library as well.
Wow, that's good. That's really good. I hope our listeners are taking down some notes and things like that. You also talked about writing down the business ideas. Why is that so important?
It's funny that you said that because this morning, as you know, I was getting ready for this, something trickled in my head. I ran to pick up my notepad and I just jotted it down. So the truth of the matter is, no matter how smart you are, and they say a blunt pencil is better than the sharpest brain. So no matter how smart you are, writing things down really help. I have a lot of notepads and journals from 10 years ago, 15 years ago. It's amazing when I just open them, the things I see. I can't even believe that at one point I thought about those things. So capturing your ideas is very important for so many reasons. Obviously, the first one is that you don't want to forget what you're thinking of, and then it also helps you to control your steps. And what I mean by that is it depends on your personality, but there's this tendency for you to get very excited when an idea trickles to your brain and you want to start implementing. While that's not really a bad thing, but the bad thing about it is that if you're not careful, you'll be implementing too many ideas at once, and then it also makes you to give up on an idea that is not yet right. So if you implement an idea right now and then you're not getting the type of results you thought you'll be getting, there's a tendency that you're going to move on to the next thing and move on to the next thing. So writing down your ideas brings clarity. It helps you to pause and think that, oh, okay, is this something I can actually implement? I have some ideas that I've kept for the last 5 years just because I know that I don't have the capacity to start yet. I have a lot on my plate. I cannot bring this on at this time, but they are really, really good ideas that I would love to implement. And then I know that I might have thought about some things in the last 5 years that maybe if I didn't capture them, there was no way or there's no way I can actually remember those things. So it's really important that we are capturing our ideas, have an idea bank. That's what I say to people. Have an idea bank, put your ideas there. And when the time is right, you definitely know you can always go back to your idea bank to inspire you, especially when you go blank. and you can't even think of anything, and you see all the ideas that you've written over the years. It's beautiful, and it's actually a source of motivation, because sometimes when I open my books, I'm like, really, I thought about this. This is so beautiful. This is great. And it also brings clarity. Writing down your ideas helps you to clarify, okay, is this something that aligns with my purpose? Is this something that I want to take on at the moment? And you begin to fine tune it, you add more ideas to it, you flesh it out. And yeah, so it's always a great thing to write down your ideas.
Wow, that's really good. You were talking about ideas, and you giving advice just now, and I also discovered from the last document you sent me that during the pandemic you started a business with someone else. You co-founded the business
Yeah,
during the
Branty.
pandemic. How did you come about that?
Oh, well, I don't even know how we came about that, but um, I'm very passionate about making things accessible to people. So, like I said, I've worked in retail all my life into adulthood. So I love selling, I love buying and selling. And I know that there are certain things that I do have access to that other people don't. And if they have access to those things, then they can move faster. So one of the things I love, all these branded wares and things like that. So that's how that came about. And yeah, so that's how we started that.
Wow, wow, that's really interesting. So the next question is for people that are actually having a business and they want to know when it's the appropriate time to start branding, marketing, and also just website development, because that's going to bring in some cost, right? When is the
Yeah.
appropriate time to start spending money on those things?
Okay, so there's no one way answer to this, but I'm going to answer your question from the perspective of a new year. So we are in a new year now. A lot of people are looking to start or launch a business idea. I personally think that what stops people is not capital or any other excuse that most people give. I think what stops people is the lack of information, lack of confidence, and then fear. So typically, I tell people that if push comes to shove, you can start your business on nothing as long as you have access to the internet. And if you can get on Facebook daily, if you can get on Instagram daily, if you can get on Twitter daily, you can, even if it's not daily, if it's just once a week that you are able to afford to come on Facebook, then you can afford to start a business. And the reason I said that is, okay, so you can't afford a website, but starting up a Facebook page is free, is absolutely free. So the time that you spend on Facebook just scrolling, whiling away time, you can actually create a page for free. The same goes with all these social media accounts. And once you start that page for free, now the next thing is, oh, okay, do I go for my logo? Of course, you can go for your logo. There are a lot of websites that you can create free logos, something to start. Don't let logos stop you. You can go on Canva and create your free logo. You can go on Adobe. There's Adobe Spark, that's free as well. And they will create, you can create like professional looking logos in minutes, and you can get started that way. I also think that when it comes to marketing, one mistake a lot of people make is that they expect customers to come to them. You can't always rely on that, especially when you are new in the market. Customers cannot always come to you. You have to be proactive and go to where the customers are. And you may be asking yourself, where are the customers? The customers are your friends. They start from your friends. So that goes back to what we're talking about, attitude. If you treat people well, they will be open to receiving information from you. You can just tell them, I just started this business. You can create a customized message for everyone in your friend list. I just started this business and I would love you to support me. If you don't need this service at this time, if you think of someone that you can refer to me, I'll greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much. It doesn't cost you anything to do that. Reach out to your circle of influence, the people that God has placed in your life. And then, of course, you already know that that cannot sustain you. You need to be able to move out of your circle to other circles so that you can gain more influence and people can have an awareness of what it is that you're doing. So that brings me to networking events, events that they plan in your area, or a particular person is planning an event. You want to be there and gain visibility. Another way that you can bring people to your business is also to support other people. A lot of people crave for support. They want people to support them, but the truth of the matter is that it's hard to receive what you cannot give. If you cannot give support to other people, if you cannot encourage your friend, your sister, your brother, how do you expect people to encourage you? It doesn't work that way. Life runs on principles, and there's a principle of sowing and reaping. You reap whatever you sow. Sometimes I don't even have to advertise what I do, right? And people would even come and ask me, "Oh, do you know someone that does this? Or what do you do? I just sent you a referral." It's really beautiful and it encourages me, and I want to do more for other people as well. So if you have a good heart, you want people to succeed, not just you. If we all succeed together, the sweeter, the more the merrier, right? So if you're able to support other people, people will be willing to go all out for you. So it's all about that influence. It's all about building those positive relationships and having people that have your back, supporting other people, even when you feel like they are not supporting you, because God has a way of compensating us. He sends people to us in ways that we cannot even imagine. Now, another way that you can market, especially when you want to be intentional about your marketing, is not just to rely on your circle of influence, it's not just to rely on those networking groups. The more you start the business and you start gaining more customers, you can also invest in ads. And ads is not necessarily a platform for people to start buying from you, but it's to increase that awareness level, to put your business in the conscious minds of people so that people know that, oh, this business exists. And sometimes maybe that person doesn't buy at that particular moment, but someone else might mention your business down the line and they'll be like, "Oh, I've seen this business before. Okay, let me go and patronize the person." Of course, other little things or inconsequential things you can do is to have good pictures of what it is that you do. So if you have pictures, if you sell retail products, you want to make sure that you are taking good pictures, and you don't necessarily. I always advocate for professional pictures, but these days we have great cell phones that can take very good pictures. Always reach out to your customers for testimonials. Testimonials are great as well. But the most important thing is that you are showing up and showing out. Don't get tired. Sometimes you might not get that result you're looking for immediately, but as long as you are consistent, you are persistent, you are showing up and giving to other people's. I'm not talking about money now. Give yourself, give your time, give your encouragement, give your motivation to other people. It comes back to you in multiple ways.
Yes, thank you so much for those encouragement. So at this point, when somebody is in that process of connecting with people and having good communication, supporting other people, and for some reason the person said, well, maybe it's time to partner with another person.
Oh,
Based on that, what's your advice on partnership, business partnership?
of course, you want to tread with caution, but partnership is a great multiplier. You gain geometric progression when you partner with the right person. So there are a couple of things that you have to consider before you decide to go into partnership. The first thing is that what complementary skills are you bringing to the table? You don't want to partner with someone that you have essentially all the same skills. That is not going to build strength. So you want to make sure that you are partnering with a complementary person. But you also need to make sure that that person is purpose driven and they have high energy. I've seen a lot of partnerships don't work. Even times that I have tried to partner, it doesn't work because it just seems like you are the only one doing all the job, you are the only one passionate about it, and people have their different, people don't honor their words, they don't even honor what they sign on paper. So you need to be very, very careful, be prayerful about it, and just make sure that you are partnering with the right person. But partnership done right is definitely encouraged. I love partnership. I love partnering with people because I just don't like working alone. I love to work with other people. I love everyone around me to win. But at this stage of my life, I cannot partner with just anybody. I have to think through it, and I have to make sure that I'm partnering the right way. There are different levels of partnership. You could collaborate with someone, for example, and say, hey, you know what, you have this skill, you can create these items. Can you do white labeling for me? And I put my own label, I do all my marketing and all you need to do is to be supplying me. That's a form of partnership. You can also do another partnership whereby you both are, or it depends on the number of people, you are all contributing the same amount, so you have the same stake in the business. It could also be a partnership of, okay, all you have is money, right? You don't want to get involved in the nitty gritty. You give money to that person is giving you a return at the end of every month, at the end of every year. It depends on, so there are different ways to partner, but definitely partnership has its pros, a lot of more pros than doing it by yourself. But the other part that in that partnership, especially for us that are Africans, or we are from African descent, we are not used to it. We have a lot of theories and superstitions and things like that. And I don't believe a lot of us are ready for it. But when it's done right, it's definitely way to go.
Wow. Thank you so much. So partnership is a possibility, but we have to be very
You have
careful
to
about
shine
it.
your eyes.
Yeah. Yes, I like to ask this question because we came into America at different times. You came ahead a long time ago, 2006. I think that's what you said, right?
Yes.
And I
Mhm.
came in 2014. I would love to hear your experiences in terms of the coming to America story that are actually, maybe any of those experiences that you would like to share with us that are actually motivated you and just put you on the track to do the things that you do.
Thank you for that question. Yes, I got to America in 2006, and it has been a journey, obviously. When I came to America, I was 35 weeks pregnant, and I had my daughter 5 weeks after I came to America. It was a whole new experience for me. I was depressed for a long time because I didn't have family members to help me. I was really looking forward to, oh, my mom, you know how you have children in Nigeria and you have your mother in law, you have your friends, you have your mom, everybody is around you. So I had to walk that journey by myself, and my husband was with me. My husband was a great support, and it was a really trying time for me. But one thing that I came with from Nigeria was that determination to succeed. And when we landed in America, of course, you're going to have people that came before you, and people would have different things to say about how you should go about your career, how you should get started. But because I already had my own conversation, internal conversation with myself, that I wasn't going to settle for less. It didn't matter what anyone said. I had my eyes fixed on the goal, and I knew that God was going to back me up, because God said that I should ask and it shall be given unto me. He said, when I seek, I would find. And when I knock that door, He's going to open that door for me. So I already had that internal conversation with myself that I was not going to settle for less. So when the advice started coming, it helped me to be able to filter what I was going to take in and what I was going to reject upfront. So one of the barriers or things that people face is that they tell you, oh, you can't work with your Nigerian degree. It's considered it's of lesser value
Yes,
than having
I
an.
read that in your book. I saw that you wrote that in your book also.
Yeah, so they tell you to go and begin again, discard what you already have. and that wasn't even flying with me anyway. So I didn't listen to those things, and it just didn't make any sense to me. Then I found out about West. There's an organization called West that would normally, it's a credential organization. They convert your degree, whatever. So I did that. And the funny thing, for how many years have I been in the US now? 16 years, I think. Yeah, 16 years. Nobody has ever questioned my West degree. Nobody has ever said, "Oh, you didn't study in America." That was not it. That has never been the part of the conversation in a job interview. And sometimes I share these things with people. The next thing they say is, "Oh, you are just lucky." You are just lucky. But the truth of the matter is that when you are in Rome, you behave like a Roman. And what I mean by that is when you go for interviews, especially as an immigrant, so I'm speaking specifically to immigrants, when you go for interviews, you want to make sure that you are over prepared. What usually happens in, I want to choose my words, in our community is that a lot of people wing their interviews. What I mean by that is, yes, you think about it, you fantasize about it. Oh, when I get there, yes, I'm going to get the job. That's not how to prepare. If you win your interview, you're not going to do well. And then the other part is, if you go for an interview and you are not chosen, I've gone for countless interviews that they will call me and say, you know what, you did very well, you rated high, but when they now put that but, you already know what is coming after that, so you don't get discouraged after one or two no's. You don't get discouraged after 10 no's. Even if you have 100 no's and you know that this is what you want, all you need to do is take that feedback and prepare better for the next time. Keep pushing. If it's going to require you to apply to 1,000 places, please do. And 1,000 places may seem overwhelming, but what you can do is that 1,000 divided by 100, that's 10. You can apply to 10 places in 100 days. It makes it seem easier. Maybe you can start by compiling the names of the industries you want to work in. Look at your resume, have someone else look at your resume, do mock interviews before you go for interview. Don't wing your interview ever, no matter how small the organization is. Don't wing your interview. Be intentional. Visit their website, look up what they are doing, memorize their mission, value statement, everything. Memorize it so that it becomes second nature to you. That is what creates an impression when you go out there. Nobody is going to question what degree you have. Of course, they can ask you about your skills, the specific skills you have, or the experience you have, because some jobs require some type of certification and they want to know whether you have that specific skill. But yeah, so that's one of the experiences I had in terms of integrating myself into corporate America. There was a lot of discouragement, but because I knew who I was in Christ and I was not going to settle for less, so it really helped me to integrate myself into the community. Another thing, or a challenge or a barrier that I had back then was also, even with starting a business, I didn't see like a lot of mentors that had businesses that represented my own type of business, my business idea, or the things I wanted to see in a business. So yes, you would have people with businesses, but they are not running it in that way that I would envision. Maybe because my mom had a business, I usually have this different way that I look at things, and I want things to be done in a professional manner as much as possible. So because there was no mentor, there was nobody that looked like me, at least in my sphere of influence at that time, that could really hold my hands. But I'm thankful to God for the opportunity of having a full-fledged library, a library that you can go to, you can find resources and people that are willing to share. I found it extraordinarily amazing to know that a retired professional, like, that doesn't know me, has not met me before, is willing to pour her heart or his heart into me. And that's why I started my mentorship program, because it blew my mind away. So it's just like having a random person that I don't know say, you know what, I'm retired now, I have all the experience, I'm a millionaire, I'm a billionaire, whatever, and I'm ready to create 45 minutes, 1 hour out of my own time to impact you just because I'm a member of SCORE. It just blew my mind away, and it was amazing, and it was something that deeply resonated with me. And I started all these teaching series on Facebook. People would learn for free, people would give me feedback. I started my mentorship platform just to teach and impact and make the world a better place.
Wow, mentorship is very important. Just
it,
like you said,
it's very
I've,
important.
I've been mentored here in America. I'm still mentoring and things like that. That's something that is very powerful. So I really agree with you on that. I just discovered that we've been talking a lot about your college experiences. Anything about your high school experiences that actually shaped you into who you are today, and the things that you do?
Yeah, so I attended a public high school, Abeokuta Girls Grammar School, and it has been instrumental in shaping me to becoming the woman that I am today. And that is why anyone that knows me know that I talk a lot about Rock City. Each time I go to Rock City, I'm always going back to my high school. I've done events there because I know that I just have to give back to that institution that has given me so much, the teachers that impacted me, and I want to be a blessing to the current students as well. So, in terms of specific impact, I've always been blessed with teachers that took personal interest in me, even right from my elementary school days, my primary school days. I've always had teachers that would take interest in me, would be willing to guide me, teach me, and it is so priceless to me. So, one particular experience that I loved about my high school, and this is outside of just having teachers. When I was in 10th grade, by the time we resumed for 10th grade, so I'm using 10th grade, that was SS1 back
Mhm.
then. 10th grade, so we resumed 10th grade, and we just had a new principal. So there were some motivational signs that were erected in the school, and there used to be one on the assembly ground that you could see. It's just a plank, and they wrote the words. And that's where I saw this particular quote that made an impression on me. And it said that the heights that great men reached and attained were not, no, the heights that great men reached were not attained by sudden flight,
Hmm.
but they, while their companions slept, were awake toiling. And that was the quote. I later found out that that quote have been attributed to Henry Wadsworth. But you see that those short words, they made so much impression on me that I went back home. When I got home, I wrote on the wall of my room, planning to fail, of no, failing to prepare is preparing to fail. And we
Mhm.
had that for a long time in my house, and it really motivated me. And I've always been this type of person that I wanted to do great things outside of Rock City. I just wanted to travel, I wanted to explore. And I of course I want to be a great person. So that quote deeply resonated with me, and it kind of like spurred me into doing a lot of the things that I did back then. And even when I got into college, that I was very bitter when I gained admission into college, because that was not the college that I wanted to go. That was not the course that I wanted to study, and it felt like the whole world was slipping from my hands. Like I had no I felt helpless, like I had no control. But then I had to have that mental conversation with myself after the first year, that you know what, you're already here, you might as well make the best use of this opportunity, else you're going to waste these 5 6 7 years of your life. Because my course was 5 years to begin with, and then coupled with strikes and closure of schools and all that. So it's like, okay, yeah, you can be bitter, but it looks like you are going to waste 7 years of your life, And then, well, the world is not going to come to an end. You still have to make meaning out of your life. You still have to grow yourself and become somebody in life. You might as well take this opportunity. And I can tell you today that that degree that I obtained from college has been a blessing to me. My entire journey, it has been extraordinarily amazing, phenomenal, and it has opened tremendous doors for me, much more than what I can explain eloquently during this session. So I'll encourage everyone out there, if you find yourself in situations that maybe you didn't prepare for, you don't love, you don't want to be there, you would rather be somewhere else, please make the best use of that opportunity, because it might really come in handy for you in the future. And it's and there's no experience that is a waste. You would need, there was one particular course that I studied in college. It was part of our core courses, and it says scientific writing or something like that. I'm like, what? I'm not going to be a professor now. Why would I? What's the relationship of toxicology and scientific writing? You'd take some courses back then, because I particularly felt, alongside with a lot of students back then, that the course shouldn't be more than 4 years now. Why are we doing 5-year course? This one, anyway, to cut the long story short, taking that course opened my eyes to a lot of things, and it actually helped me to develop my love for writing. I can't call myself the greatest writer ever, but I do love writing, and that course helped me. Even in moments that I had to write right after college, I had to do some writings, and the people that were reviewing it, they were impressed, and I'm like, okay, it was because I did scientific writing in school. So I can share so many stories like that God has really showed up for me, but it was because I also settled myself and was willing to soak in that moment and make the best use of that moment, that I didn't want to be there, but I still made the best use of it.
Wow, thank you. We're going to be wrapping up soon. I've been talking with my sister, Mrs. Seun Akinlotan, this founder of
Onpoint
Onpoint Success.
Success.
All right, Onpoint Success, and we've been talking about business and everything that pertains to starting a business. To wrap up today, can you just encourage our viewers on the ideas that they can use just to push themselves to start? Because procrastination is another thing we didn't talk about, because a lot of people have ideas and things like that. People that have been sitting on ideas for so long, what, in your last words, what encouragement can you give them to just push
You
them
want to
forward?
know the encouragement I will give for people that are sitting on their ideas for so long?
Yes.
Okay. They should go and sleep now. They should sleep more, because they have all the time in the world. Okay, I was just kidding. Well, eh, there are so many things I can use to encourage them, but the number one thing I'm going to say is that your time in this part of eternity is very short. You can say that you will live up to 90, and it will not happen. So you are only guaranteed of now, you are not guaranteed of the next minute. The other thing I'll also say is that if you don't start, you are giving up your right to become a pace setter. So that's that. And then number three, it's very easy to implement ideas. The Bible says that in the midst of many advisors, plans don't fail. Now, you have to choose your advisors. Who are the people advising you? Who are the people that sometimes I drag my feet with unequaled? I had a timeline that I was supposed to complete the book, right? And then I got to the middle. I wasn't feeling the motivation. So what I did to be able to push myself to complete my manuscript was I approached my friend. Can you please hold me accountable? Can you check on me every week? And she did the job. She understood the assignment, and she did the job so well. So she would check on me. How many chapters have you written? How many words did you write? So when I know that someone that truly cared about my progress was going to check on me, it made me be on my toes, and I wanted to deliver. So I was able to pull through and push the book out. Even for Business Launch Simplified, it was the same thing. I had to approach a friend, an accountability partner, and say, hey, I have this goal. I've written this. I need to be able to push this book out. And I've done that for a lot of the projects that I've taken. Even for Power Woman Experience, I have accountability partners, people that will check on me weekly. And I check on them as well. So we hold each other accountable. And this is a priceless thing that a lot of people can make use of. Look for that one friend. And if you don't have friends, because some people don't have friends, which it is what it is. If you don't have friends, you need to look for a group of friends. And accountability is one thing we do on my mentorship platform. So they don't necessarily have to be your friends, but you all have the same goal of wanting to fulfill purpose. You want to maximize your potential so that you can live your best life. Join those groups that are small. They care about your progress. They want you to move forward. You feel comfortable. Then you can say, these are the things I want to achieve. And you have people that are, giving you that push. So if you want to start an idea, of course, start small. And I also have a book, Business Launch Simplified, that people can buy. It's very easy to read. I was reading it again last night and I said to myself, okay, I wrote this, like, seriously? Okay, this is good. It's very short and it just gives you things to do from day 1 to day 30. Of course, you can finish it before 30 days, but if you want to pace yourself, you don't want anything to overwhelm you, 30 days, in the next 30 days, today is 22nd, by February 22nd, you have a business out there. How cool does that sound?
Yes, very nice, very cool. Yeah, how can our viewers get in contact with you in case somebody wants?
Oh yeah, so I'm on all social media platforms at Seun Akinlotan. So just type Seun Akinlotan, I'm there. I also have a website, seunakinlotan.com. I have my business website, the onpointsuccess.com. You can also connect with the Power Woman Experience, the powerwomanexperience.com. So yeah, that's how to reach me.
Wow, thank you so much for accepting the invitation to be with
Thank you
us
for
on this
having me.
this fifth edition of Solution Illuminators. At this point, we want to say bye, and we'll see our guests some other time.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming.